This is my tree house. It's this tiny little tree house on top of a stump overlooking the ocean. It's on the Sunshine Coast in British Columbia. The house is almost completely built from 2 red cedars from my yard, and mostly with all repurposed or reclaimed items. The treehouse starts 6 feet above ground, and then it goes another 16 feet high, and then on top of that is the rooftop deck. So I'd say in total it's probably 26, 27 feet high. The treehouse is 10 by 10 with 1 corner cut off. So it's really 97 square feet on the bottom, and the loft bed is on the top. I think what I love most about the treehouse is it's kind of like nature meets creativity. It's a place to come and disconnect from the busyness that our lives are often. And even though it's in my backyard, when I go in there, I feel like I'm totally disconnected. And it's really simple. It brings you back to simplicity. My name's Cassandra Parker. I'm a mom, a teacher, a life coach. I built this treehouse with help. I like to do a bit of art in my spare time, and that was my canvas for 1 year. This treehouse is a story for sure. So when I first bought this property, I had to cut down 2 big cedars here that were shadowing the land so that I wasn't able to grow anything. I love growing food that I can eat, and I love for my kids to be able to walk around and see that and pick food and eat it. So I was getting the 2 trees cut down in the yard by my friend, Trevor, and he told me that the trees were just too nice to chop into firewood. So I had to think about what to do, and I had been designing tiny houses forever. And I had one that was a tree house that was just sort of a dream to maybe build one day. And then I went with a friend to Quebec, and he showed his uncles my design. And they said, if you fly us down, and they said it in French, it had to be translated. If you fly us down, feed us, give us beer, we'll build it in 9 days based on your designs. And I was like, absolutely, this sounds amazing. So I had to do all the measurements perfect, get all the lumber cut perfectly, have everything ready so that there was no mistakes in my measurements because they're only here for 9 days. And they came down and they worked from about 6:30 a.m. until 9 p.m. every night, and just laughing and speaking French and putting up the treehouse. It was so fun. I'm so grateful to Stéphane, Andre, and Richard. If I didn't have all that help, there's no way this ever would have happened. So it took them 9 days to put it up, and then I did the inside by myself. And it took 1 year for me to finish it. I wanted to put a lot of time into sanding every shelf and really putting love into it. Building this treehouse, I really did it quite budget friendly and tried to make everything have a very minimal footprint on the environment. So it was really important to me that I didn't buy too many things brand new, except for the door. That's the only item I bought new. So most of the stuff was used or reclaimed from a store called Restore, from friends. And then I met someone who does movie sets. So a couple of the things came from the Aquaman movie and from Mad Men TV show. Let's go look at the treehouse. So the siding of the treehouse came from the 2 trees in my yard. So it's all cedar siding. And I really didn't want to cover this up. I wanted it to look natural and to be part of the design. This is the bottom of the treehouse. The foundation is the tree stump. It's a beautiful big round red cedar that we cut grooves into and actually set the treehouse that far down into the grooves to make it very solid. And then there's 3 more pillars in the other corners that have cinder blocks. So under here is where the hot water tank is. So this is actually a door here that comes off, And then it's a little insulated box in the hot water tank is dropped down. And there's an insulated cord that I plug in when the temperature drops below -6. The treehouse is insulated just with that regular pink insulation, and it's heated with baseboard heaters. So these stairs are very heavy. Each one of the concrete blocks probably weighs over 150 pounds, and I'm not sure how much the rounds weigh, but they're quite heavy. And every one of the 4x4s that we put into cinder blocks, and then we had to concrete that down. These are the cedar rounds that came off of this tree right here. And then each concrete step has a little story. I set little stones and did little images in each stair as we go. And these railings are the driftwood railings. I just found this at a local beach and found different shapes and lengths that would work for the railings here. I really like working with driftwood because it has so many curves and natural shapes. So this is a little deck. It's covered so you can sit here in the rain, which is nice, and overlooks the garden. There's a little bench on this deck that seats two. It's just a nice little quiet spot to sit, and you can hear the rain pattering on the roof. And then these are the stairs that go to the rooftop deck. It's a really kind of magical space to hang out. And from up there, there's an ocean view. But the stairs are a little steep, so I don't really open up the rooftop deck to people that are staying in the treehouse that I don't know. The door is the only item that I actually purchased new, and I really wanted to paint it this color. Reminds me of the sea. It's just my favorite color. Brings peace, I think. And welcome to the treehouse. Yeah, there's a lot of cedar inside that I used. I really wanted to showcase the cedar, especially the knots and the grains, and just have a chance to really show how beautiful it is. And this is the little kitchenette. Just a tiny little fridge and a tiny little toaster oven, so you can cook here if you want to. It's very minimal. There's no coffee maker, it's just a French press. And this tile here was being thrown out. Someone was actually dumping all of that. It was the same person who I got the stuff from the movie sets from. So I used it to tile the counter here. This is one of the shelves that I made. I did all of these with kind of the extra cutoffs. I tried to make sure there was no waste. So when all of the pieces were cut down, there was lots of really strange pieces like this that I actually found to be the most exciting pieces of the cedar. And I made quite a few little shelves out of them. So this one here, and a few that are up here. And just kind of tried to find a way to place them where they'd be useful, but also look nice and hopefully be a little bit of a work of art. Over here is a little table area where two people can sit. It's a little round table that was from the Mad Men TV show. This is a tiny little spot to have breakfast or have a little snack or maybe do a little work, and you can look out over the gardens. And here's the bathroom. It's hooked up to the fan, so it's a little bit noisy. This here was a friend of mine's old antique dresser that I cut a hole out of and added the sink into. And then some more of the shelves that I made here. And this toilet was another throwaway someone was getting rid of. I just cleaned it up really nice, and it's a perfectly working toilet. The shower is a nice little, it's a 3x3, so it's a decent sized shower. And you can see the exposed cedar that support the second floor. I really wanted to keep those exposed so you could see them because they're such beautiful pieces of cedar. When I was building the treehouse, I asked for a barn door. I just put it out on the Facebook buy and sell looking to buy a barn door. And somebody said they had a barn door, so I went there, I looked at it, I fell in love with it, and he said, yeah, it's actually from Aquaman movie. So when doing any sort of small builds, one of the tricky parts, I imagine, this is the only small build I've done, but for designing it, I find one of the tricky parts is trying to find spaces to put stuff. So the stairs seems like a really natural place to be able to put stuff. Under here, there's like extra blankets, and in here, games and books, and the laundry hamper. So when designing these stairs, I knew that I didn't want to take too much of the space. So I have a little hidden stair down below. Most of these stairs are very rectangular, but this last top one, I really wanted to be a live edge. And it just adds a little bit of curve and again gives that feeling of being in a treehouse. And then right in here is just perfectly fits a queen size bed. That's about all there is here. It's a real simple loft bed with a beautiful view for your headboard. The floor is all cedar and the little railing overlooking, and the ceilings are 16 feet here. They have a slight arch at the top, which allows for the rain to fall off. And because it's such a high, small building, I think it's really important to have this fan, and it circulates really well. And these are the church windows that I'm really excited got installed. The windows are from a church in West Vancouver. The church was being torn down, so I got 2 of the windows. They're 7.5 feet tall. This room is very minimal. It's just meant to create a chance for calm. Hopefully if attention goes anywhere, it's out the window, looking out at the trees. There's not very much in here on purpose. Just anywhere you look is basically wood, inside and outside. When I look at the treehouse from out here, I still feel surprised that it even happened. Everything kind of fell into place, and it kind of blows my mind that there's a treehouse in my backyard. That's a really lovely place to stay. And there was just so many people that helped out with this process. So I feel like this treehouse really was built with a lot of love. So it is on Airbnb under Oceanview, Treehouse, Gibsons, BC. And it's been so lovely to have people come and share their experiences here.
Subscribe to Exploring Alternatives, and please share this video if you liked it. You can also follow and find out more about the Oceanview Treehouse on Instagram. Thanks for watching.